Hey demons, it's your girl Lucy, and I feel like I'm going to embarrass myself with this video. I don't know why I'm making this, but I think a lot of us creative people and artists and basically everyone has some sort of original character, even if it's just one. I think people who say they don't make up original characters are lying, and I have a lot. I have a lot that I love, that I think are well-written characters that I enjoy to think about currently, that I consistently draw right now. There are also a lot that need to be forgotten in the past. But today we're digging them up. And we're looking at some of the OCs that I made when I was much younger, and they are much less well written, and I'm just going to be laughing at them. They're very cringe, but you know what? Cringe is fun, okay? And if you guys have any OCs that are like this now, that's great. As long as you're having fun with it. I still think about these guys every once in a while, so let's get into it. Okay, so this first OC that I'm going to be talking about, I called her Alex, or Alexandra was her full name, and she's kind of hard to describe because she wasn't really one character. She was just kind of like the default character I would go to, like, put into any story, and she was 100% a self-insert because she shifted and adjusted as I grew up. One of the most hilarious versions of her that I think I have was... I like to insert my characters into a lot of media that I enjoyed, and one piece of media that I was very obsessed with as a young child, so kind of am, it's a little problematic nowadays, is Harry Potter, the Harry Potter franchise. Okay, guys, I desperately want to go to Hogwarts. It's really bad, and the day my 11th birthday came and I did not get that owl, I was genuinely disappointed. So we do the next best thing, and we put a self-insert character into this fandom, or this world, and then we have her do all the things that we cannot, sadly, because we live in reality. Okay, so the first part about this character is I made her Voldemort's daughter. You know the cursed child where there's, like, Voldemort has a daughter or something, and I don't even know what's going on with that. But everybody hates it, and it's really bad because Voldemort would literally never have a child. Yeah, I did that. I did that with my self-insert. And it's not even like I would want to be Voldemort's child in real life. He's really abusive. At least in this story, he was really abusive. It was, like, bad. But every good character needs a traumatic backstory. And also, her being the daughter of, like, the main villain and the super famous person in this world means that the world can, like, revolve around her, which is a very important trait of all Mary Sue's. Another thing that came with this is she got to be very close with the Malfoy family and was best friends with Draco Malfoy. It was like, okay, I also had a phase where I was very obsessed with Draco Malfoy. I will forever be upset that he didn't get a redemption arc. That's just proof of J.K. Rowling's really poor writing skills, because she set it up and then just no follow through. I don't know what she was thinking. But anyway, he was still, like, a jerk, but he was much kinder behind it. I'd like to delve in more to how he was struggling with how he didn't want to be evil, how he still wanted to be a good person, all of that, his internal conflict. So he was her best friend, and he was there for her. They were, like, really close because I wanted to be besties with Draco, okay? And I remember in the story that I would often imagine she would, like, hate Harry, Hermione, and Ron, or they would have, like, beef. They would be fighting because she's besties with Draco. They're on the same team, and they don't really like each other, that group. And then she ends up getting close to Hermione Granger, and they fall in love, and they go to the Yule Ball together in, like, these gorgeous dresses. And then Ron is, like, really pissed, and everyone's, like, staring at them because they're just, like, so beautiful. Because I wanted to date Hermione Granger. This is so bad. But no, I had so much fun with her. This was great. She also, oh my god, another thing I did, where she got really close with Severus Snape, and he was, like, her mentor figure, and, like, she was the only one that could make him smile. Oh my god, I really pulled out all the Mary Sue self-insert tropes for this character, didn't I? So yeah, Voldemort's daughter, best friends with Draco Malfoy, dating Hermione Granger, and Snape's favorite student. I mean, how much more Mary Sue can you get? But I loved her. I enjoyed it. I feel like I should draw her again sometime. But this was not the only version of Alex. I did not only put her in Harry Potter. Again, this is a character that I adopted for everything. And she had different versions that honestly could be, like, their own separate, completely different, nothing in common characters, except that I called them Alex, because I'm really shit at coming up with character names, as we've gone over before many times on this channel. So once I found a name that I thought worked, I just stuck with it. Was not coming up with anything different for any of my characters, especially when they were just in my head at this point. So another story that I would often put her in, this one was kind of just my own. It was one where she was like experimented on and she was like infused with dark, evil-y stuff. I feel like you can see the inspiration for Nico here, because I kind of did that, but it's better written now, okay? Anyway, so she was like infused with that, and then I had her like eyes go all black, and her hair was originally white, and then as she was growing up, she got like black streaks until it was mostly black, or just white streaks until it was like completely black. Because you black-haired people, evil, okay? That you're infused with the dark, shadowy things. So yeah, anyway, she was very traumatized because I just made her constantly tortured and a bunch of other bad stuff because I'm a sadistic. I don't know what's wrong with me. I swear I'm not a psychopath. I don't think. Anyway, so that was her story, and then she would go out into the world, and she basically didn't speak, or like spoke in like one-word sentences, and was very traumatized, honestly. And everybody was just like really worried about her, no matter, they could be off trying to like save the entire world, but no. They cared about her, and they needed to know about her and what she had gone through, and they sympathized with her, and she was actually really smart. I made her a genius. Like, she could do like insane math in her head, was incredibly smart, and knew all these things, because of course she is. Just, of course she is. I don't know what else you would expect. She was also just ridiculously overpowered. I mean, I always pictured scenes of like there being this really badass guy, badass villain with these really powerful powers that no one else can beat. And then this little like 14-year-old girl comes up who doesn't even speak, who's just sitting there all quiet the entire time and just destroys him in like 10 seconds. I imagined that a lot. She was very OP. But you know, she kind of slayed for that. A girl boss, honestly. Another character I had, I think this, okay, we're going all the way back to the first original character I can ever remember creating. And it was a Pokemon, because we used to love Pokemon, so that's what it was, and it was a very basic design. It was, I don't know how to describe it. It kind of looked like an otter, a little bit, but it had a more cat-like face. It was cartoony. It was all black, except on its paws were bright purple, and the end of it had a long tail. At the tip of its tail was purple, and then its eyes were purple, and then that was it. That was its entire design. Very, very simple. It didn't even have any ears. Now that I'm thinking about what it looked like, it didn't have any ears, which kind of bothers me, because honestly, one of my favorite things to give characters now is huge ears. Because I think it's like huge elf ears, huge cat ears, whatever. I think it's adorable. And this guy was just like bald. Anyway. But yeah, and he could kind of float everywhere, could float in the air, and then he was always trying, like, almost being captured by, like, Team Rocket and these evil people, and had to run to stay safe, and was constantly on the run because he was just super duper rare Pokemon. There was only one left in the entire Pokemon universe, and that was this guy. And he was constantly running from these evil people until he meets up with, like, Ash and them, and they're trying to protect her the best that, I don't fucking know their gender. I don't think I even gave them a gender. I was an ally before I even knew what that meant. Anyway, until they like met up with Ash and that whole group, and they were like focused on protecting them. And like, no, you guys are awful people. Look at what you're doing to this poor helpless creature. Except it wasn't helpless. It was really powerful. But yeah, that was the first original character I ever came up with. I think it rocked. I should make a video redesigning these characters and trying to rework their stories, because I think that could be really fun, honestly. Let's see, what other characters did I have? Oh, I had a lot of Warrior Cats characters. There's no script for this video, if you couldn't tell. I'm kind of just rambling on about these characters I had. But Warrior Cats. Oh, did I have a lot of Warrior Cats characters. Okay, one character that I had was, you know how in Warrior Cats, if you haven't read Warrior Cats, I read, like, all 80 of those books, or however many there are. I was obsessed. And I'm still in Warrior Cats roleplays nowadays, but we don't need to talk about that, okay? No, nobody needs to talk about that. Anyway, so I had a lot of characters in that, and one of the main characters I remember having was, so in Warrior Cats, basically the kitty cat version of hell is the Dark Forest, where they send all of the bad evil kitties because they don't get to go to Star Clan, they go to the Dark Forest. And they aren't able to have kits there in the canon of the stories, but in this one I imagine that they could, and then the character was like born in the Dark Forest, and now everybody just thinks that they're like evil, and she honestly is kind of evil, you know, growing up there and everything like that. She was kind of very evil, but she was just like a child, and it was this whole thing about how people were like, no, it's just a kid, she didn't choose to be born here, and then other people were like, she just murdered 20 other cats. Yeah, and her dad was like the leader of, or it was like Tiger Star. No, her dad was Tiger Star. Because of course he was. I can't handle this. It was great. And then she was sent down. Somehow they figured out a way to like go into the living cat world. And she was sent down to ThunderClan to take over and like murder Tiger Star. Of course, she was just like an apprentice. They're sending a literal child down to murder the leader of the clan. And probably expose themselves. I don't know. I didn't put a lot of thought behind these stories, okay? I was just having fun. So yeah, that's what she was. She also had a ton of scars just all over her body from the Dark Forest, and everybody was looking at her like this little child just with long scars down her body and dried blood, and they were just like, yeah, that's normal. We shouldn't question where this child came from. It was another time, guys. I swear I'm better at writing now. So yeah, those are all the original characters that I can think of. Well, I actually no. I have many more original characters. Those are the only ones I'm going to bring up in this video. I might make a second part of this video where I talk about even more of my old, badly written, cringy characters. But that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Bye, guys.